Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me talk to you.
Welcome. We are live for another episode of Let Me Talk to You, episode number 44. We are back. Of course, my name is Frankie Fresco and my brother DiTrapio. What up, Nick? How you doing, bro?
What's up? Everything good?
Yeah, bro. Everything's great, man. Nice to be back. We might have some announcement to make at the end of the show, but stick around and hopefully we'll be able to go ahead and let you guys know what's in our minds. In the meantime, let's go and do a quick breakdown of what we're going to talk about. Today, we're skipping NXT. Might be something we're going to be doing more often. So just want to let you know it might be we're skipping NXT tonight and probably skipping NXT moving forward. So we're going to start with the Miami Dolphins. We'll talk about some of the roster moves that just happened. We'll recap what happened this past weekend. On Monday Night Football, and then we'll also talk about some information, some news that broke out earlier today of an ex-player. Talking some stuff about the Miami Dolphins. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we'll talk about it. Then we'll move on to college football, to the controversy of the college playoff. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to the college playoff. It's a lot of skeptical stuff going on. You know, the way they're making all this stuff of who gets in, who doesn't get in. It's kind of annoying. So obviously we will go ahead and talk about that. We'll talk about the Miami Heat. Fortunately, Eric Spoelstra with a little bit of a blunder, but it's still early in the season. And then finally we'll end the show. Anything else that we could think of? Maybe we'll end it with some boxing or something like that. We are also possibly going ahead and moving on from speaking some soccer as well. I think we're gonna take a pause on some of these topics and just focus more on the main sports, which would be the Dolphins, college football, and the Miami Heat, sprinkled with a little bit of the Florida Panthers. But enough of me talking, Nick. I see your happy birthday, bro. I see you back there saying happy birthday. So happy birthday. I know last week was your birthday, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
Excited that you blessed for another day, and hopefully we get to hang out either tomorrow or Friday. I don't know. We'll probably make a decision sometime this between after the show or tomorrow morning as to what we're gonna do as a family. Obviously, we got to do something special for you. But let's talk a little bit about the Miami Dolphins, right? That's what everybody likes to talk about. There's some drama, but before we go to the drama, let's talk about the breaking news that just happened, Nick. Our boy, David Long Jr., getting cut. Sir, talk to me, man. Did you see this coming? David Long Jr. getting cut from the Miami Dolphins, and the Dolphins pick Jack Stroll, tight end, off of waivers. Sir, talk to me, man. What do you think about this move?
It's weird because this was probably one of the most productive players from last year's team. And this year's team, he was also putting up some decent numbers. I know sometimes he's a liability on pass coverage, but he's a good run stopper. And having to see that they picked up, if I'm not mistaken, his name is Dobson from this. He got cut by, if I'm not mistaken, the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So having to see him getting scooped.
Tyrell Dobson.
Dobbs, there you go. His first name is Tyrell. So yeah, Tyrell Dobson's having to see him come in and getting swooped by the Dolphins, and I just thought David Long Jr. was gonna be kind of like extra depth for now. but Walker Jr. completely took over his position. And then the weirdest part is that you would think the Dolphins would keep all their guys, especially the group that did so well last year. But I don't know. I don't know what this move means. Maybe this means that they're realizing, hey, we can we don't really need him, but that's a long shot because the NFL, injuries happen and you need depth. And that's one thing we've always preached about when it comes to the Dolphins. We need some depth because I know our main guys can go down at any point of the season.
Yeah, man, and let me pull this up for you guys out there. So let's talk a little bit about David Long Jr. and of course, Jack Stoll, who is now part of the Miami Dolphins. So first, let's talk about David Long Jr. Sir, he played 75 career games with 49 starts with Tennessee and Miami. He has a total of 371 tackles. He had in 222 solos, one sack, 15 pass deflections, and three forced fumbles in his career. He has also appeared in 6 playoff games with 4 starts. He played in 25 games in his 2 seasons with Miami. 148 tackles, one sack, one pass deflection, and one forced fumble. He originally entered the NFL as a sixth-round pick by Tennessee, and he played his collegiate career in West Virginia, where he was in the Big 12's Defensive Player of the Year in 2018. So David Long Jr., kind of a casualty of the situation that we have Anthony Weaver as the coach. Maybe for the Vic Fangio, he was a lot more suitable for that defense, but you obviously saw how he struggled against the Arizona Cardinals. He didn't. I don't think I saw him at all against the Rams this past Monday. So it just makes sense for the Dolphins to go ahead and cut him. It now also we added Stoll. So he's a tight end. He's a 4-year NFL veteran who has appeared in 57 career games and 28 starts and 4 seasons with Philadelphia, recorded 22 receptions. He also appeared in 5 postseason games, so he has some experience in the playoffs. Started 2 with the Eagles. Entered the NFL as an undrafted college free agent. Philadelphia picked him up. He played collegiate level in Nebraska, where he appeared 43 games with 26 starts and recorded 6.5 receptions for 657 yards and 6 touchdowns. So another tight end. Um, I guess they got the tight end because you saw who they put in injured reserve. Now we got Tanner Connor. He has been placed on injured reserve. So we have another move. So Tanner Connor, a person who has not kind of performed, is now out from the injury report. And now we got this guy, Stoll. And of course, Tanner Connor wasn't making that much noise in the Dolphins. It was kind of, you know, Julian Hill. Um, being the backup to John Smith. John Smith, yeah. So it's like, you know, tight end moves.
And we have Thurham Smite too.
Doing Smart hasn't been playing at all. I mean, he's been here or there, but it's just been really weird what they've done with that tight end position. Although I will say, you have gotten some production from John Smith recently, so that's a good thing. And here's the information on Tanner Connor. So Tanner Connor, he appeared in 24 games with 1 start in Miami, recording 3 receptions for 16 yards. How's this guy still on the team, bro? He entered the NFL undrafted free agent with Miami in 2022. Played at Idaho State. He was a first team All Big Sky selection at wide receiver in the spring. Connor has earned all conference honors in track and field. He transitioned to tight end when he was signed by the Dolphins in 2022. He's had 24 career games with just 1 start. Why is this guy still on the team, bro? Just makes no freaking sense. And the guy that we picked up, Tyrell Dodson, 5-year veteran, appeared 68 games, 24 starts with Buffalo, so he knows Buffalo. He was with Seattle as well. He had recorded 199 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 6 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries in his career. Entered the undrafted free agent with Buffalo in 2019. Played collegiate level in the Texas A&M. He appeared in 39 games, recorded 202 tackles, 4 interceptions, 15 pass deflections, and 2 fumble recoveries in 3 seasons with the Aggies. Not bad, man. And again, a guy I think, in my opinion, who fits the scheme, who fits, of course, Anthony Weaver's type of defensive vibes. So, talk to me, Nick. Satisfied? Not satisfied? What do you think about these moves, bro?
I'm actually satisfied. knowing that we are willing to make the adjustments. If things don't work out, then Anthony Weaver has the mindset that, hey, if this doesn't work, then we gotta try other things that can click, and then roll with that group of guys. Sometimes coaches, they hold on tight to a specific player because they kind of recruited them over to the scheme, and they kind of force them to kind of work around a new scheme. And if it just doesn't flourish, then you know what? Gotta make there was an opportunity with Dobson, so they felt like Walker is a better fit. I don't understand how Duke Riley can beat David Long Jr. There. I would think Duke Riley would lose his position, but I guess not. So with these group of guys, with Jordan Brooks and um now with Dobson and company, I think it's gonna be a good fit. I've always felt like Miami has always had like weak linebackers, and whenever they have a strong core of linebackers, they tend to do really well. So I think it's a great move, and hopefully it pays off now since we're kind of halfway through the season.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And now that you're talking about that we've had weak linebackers, somebody came on a podcast and started talking about his experience with the Miami Dolphins last season, and that was none other than a guy who has been performing, and that is Deshaun Elliott. So Deshaun Elliott appeared on a podcast, and he mentioned the thing that we wanted to address today, and that's of course him mentioning that last year I played for a team that was soft as F. All right, Nick, talk to me, man. We were talking about this before we got on, about the whole terminology of soft, right? So, uh, I want to get your perspective. What did when you heard this from Deshaun Elliott? What was your first initial reaction?
that he's a that he's a bitch, has a bitch attitude. If I was a football player, at the end of the day, our goal is we all want to make, you know, the main goal, which is win a trophy to the team and make bread, and kind of just realize that everyone else does their own individual lives. But you have people out here that misery loves company, so he's one of those guys. And I felt like it was super unnecessary, not super necessary, super unnecessary that he would comment. I just don't get why. I just don't get why. I'm hoping that he could have been a little bit more specific, but he didn't. Um, but overall, I think that's just a very generalized thing to say, and if that's how he feels, then hey, good for you, brother. But i- if you want my honest opinion, that guy can go kick rocks, man. Go fuck yourself, bro.
Well, I took it in a different way, and I'll tell you why I took it in a different way. Because first and foremost, there was he they asked him they asked him a question not related, because obviously Pittsburgh is playing the Baltimore Ravens, so he was in a Baltimore Ravens type of podcast, I think. And he threw jabs at the Baltimore Ravens too. It's not like he only threw jabs at the Miami Dolphins, but he did go and mention that he wanted to specify on the fact that, you know, the team that he played for was soft. Now, do I get offended by him saying that? Absolutely not. And the reason I say I don't get offended is because number one, he's telling the truth. We're a soft team. I mean, for how many seasons has it been that we've been, picked as like a finesse team? People are saying that we're all about finesse and that we can't, we don't know how to respond. And let's keep it real, guys. We've gotten our butts kicked left and right, and we got punched in the face a couple of times. Dolphins don't do anything about it, man. Dolphins just sit back and you see them giggling and laughing on the bench and all that stuff. I mean, there's no discipline, there's no seriousness. I complete it doesn't shock me that he said this. And as a matter of fact, Jordan Poyer has said it before and he's on the team. So it's like, am I gonna get mad for him saying it? No, man, he's keeping it real. He's keeping it real. And you know what? It's good that he said it. Maybe it'll light up a spark in the Miami Dolphins to say, man, screw that guy. Let's prove to that guy is a loser and that we do care about this team. He also went on record, Nick, to say that when he was here in Miami, it was hard for the Miami Dolphins to lift up after that defeat with Tennessee. So he went on paper, he went and he said that with Miami, he was having a pretty decent season. And then when the Miami Dolphins lost to the Tennessee Titans, I think it was either that Monday or Thursday night game. I don't remember, or it could have been Sunday. I know it was one of those show primetime games. He went on record to say that apparently the team was deflated, that the team didn't care anymore. He went as far as to say that the guys didn't care anymore, and the guys started going to strip clubs and all that stuff. So if he's saying all this and he's dishing all this information of the Dolphins, I'm not mad at him. As a matter of fact, I give him kudos for putting us out. Put all those. You want to know? Hopefully, no kids are listening, but you want to know who are the bitches? The players that are still in the team taking advantage, because at least Deshaun Elliott had the balls to go ahead and say it. And if he wasn't performing in Pittsburgh, then you know what? He could kick rocks. He's performing, and he didn't do bad in Miami either. So why am I going to be mad at him for actually going ahead and calling it the way it is, Nick? It's the truth. He is telling what he sees, and that's exactly what we need. And we've all been saying that the Miami Dolphins are soft. Let's keep it real.
I don't know, man. That doesn't sit well with me. I feel like, that type of attitude. Like I said before, bro, we're all grown as men. We all work hard. We all play football. They all have. It's a hard contacting sport, and for you to go right ahead and say, "Oh, we're a soft ass team," well, you know what? You're a soft ass bitch too. Go kick rocks, bro.
I
Simple as
mean,
that. As simple as that. How is it that one of my own brothers is gonna go right ahead and talk shit behind my back like that? Nah, man, that doesn't sit well with me. So you know
one.
what? You want you feel that way? Go right ahead. You do you. But hey, you know that maybe that's why he didn't stay too much in the team. Maybe he had people that really didn't rub him the right way, or he had people that maybe he didn't rub the right people his way. So it's like, hey, I guess the feelings are mutual. I just wish the Dolphins were a little bit more straight up about it. Like, you know what? Oh, he thinks about that. Well, go kick rocks, bro. We don't go fuck, bro. But the way Tua answered it, I mean, I wish it was a little bit different. But I guess he's just being, you know,
Oh wait, hold on a second. Tua responded to it.
yeah.
All right, what I didn't hear this, so let inform me, sir. What did Tua say?
He pretty much said in small words like, "Hey, that's its opinion. That's cool. I've had genuine conversations with him before, and that I know." Pretty much saying, "Hey, that's his opinion. Cool. That doesn't pertain to me." But it's like, yo, you're pretty much talking shit about the team. Like, I would try to be like, man, that's why he's not in the team. We don't want that type of negative energy. You get me? Like, say something like that. You feel me? But for you to be like, oh, that doesn't pertain to me. Come on, Tua. You gotta let your boys know that that he got your back. So it's like, come on, bro. Like, I would have been like, you know what? That's the reason why he's not in this team. That's why we don't need that type of negativity. We're a family. We don't Family doesn't say shit like that.
Well, you want to
We boost each other up. It's not like in other ways, but for you to offend me so that you can feel, I guess you up me one. I mean, whatever. That's your prerogative. Say whatever. I mean, it is what it is.
well, Nick, you got a good point there because we were talking about this and we mentioned this right before we got on air. It was a situation was that what do we think about the Miami Dolphins? Are the Miami Dolphins a soft team or not a soft team? And then what's our definition of soft? Now, when I told you, I said the definition of soft for the Miami Dolphins is that nobody's afraid of them, that they could get bullied and pushed around, and the Dolphins are just gonna take it and they're not gonna do anything about it. And that's kind of the vibes I've been getting from them for the last couple of years. Now, I will say this: you mentioned to me, you asked me a question, Frank. How can the Miami Dolphins turn that type of
Identity.
identity? Thank you, sir. Identity around. And I told you that it had to start with obviously people in charge. So your head coach, your defensive coordinator, your offensive coordinator, they need to go ahead and step it up. Now, one of the things I used, and I told you, Nick, I said, hey, man, did the Dolphins ever have this tag, this identity tag of being soft or being a finesse team or anything like that when Brian Flores was around? And your answer was no, because Brian Flores brought that type of vibe where he could say, go kick rocks. F you. Brian Flores was, hey, screw you. I'm defending the Dolphins. I mean, I remember, Nick, when Brian Flores went out on the field. Remember when he got on the field and everybody had his back and he was about to swing it with the other team?
Yeah,
Like,
it was the Cincinnati Bengals game, bro.
so he had that persona in him, and the Dolphins didn't have that type of identity or tag on him. After he left, after they got rid of him, the situation was we brought Mike McDaniel, and there's been a lot of controversy right now with Mike McDaniel. A lot of people are saying that Mike McDaniel is very, very, people person. He's not the type of person who's gonna go ahead and discipline his players and whatnot and all that stuff. Again, you might take David Long Jr. getting, released and all that stuff as a discipline. I don't see it as a discipline. I just see him as he just didn't fit the program. So they kicked him out. They said, get out of here. He's not fitting it. We're not going to use it. And they saved up, I think, about another 2 or 3 million off of his cap. So it favored the Dolphins. Here's the issue. I told you, Nick, if Anthony Weaver, is Anthony Weaver one of those guys that we could honestly go ahead and look at and be like, hey, is this guy going to be the guy who actually puts his foot down and has that persona? And you and me both agreed that he kind of has a little bit of both, right? He comes more across of somebody that you would respect, but not like an asshole. He's not like screw you or something like that. He's more of like somewhere in the middle. He's not too harsh, but he's not too Brian Flores like either. He's not too that extreme. So then my question to you, the next thing I told you was like, if the Dolphins want to change this around, then it starts now with your players. Obviously, you're not getting it from your coaches, so now you got to start looking at your players. And Nick, what did I tell you? What did I tell you in the beginning? And we're talking defense. Who did I say to you was the guy that I felt was the only leader or the only guy I think on the defensive side of the ball that is a dog, that is a guy that you respect, that you're like, damn man, he's good.
Calais Campbell.
Exactly. And if you guys have seen the games, you've noticed it. I mean, he took leadership on Monday. There's a reason why. At 38 years old, the old geezer holding it down. Besides him, man, Jalen Ramsey, no. Javon Holland, no. Any of the linebackers, no. Chubb Robinson, he's just a rookie. The only other guy I thought that was a dog was Christian Wilkins, and he's no longer with the team. That's the truth. Now, if we look at the side of the offensive side of the football, Nick, who did I tell you was the only guy I thought, in my opinion, was a dog on the offensive side of the football?
Teron Armstead.
Can you argue with me? Because you just finished telling me what supposedly our quarterback just said of a guy who took a shot at us. He's not a leader. He's a follower, just like everybody else on the offensive side of the ball. Tyreek Hill is not a follower. I mean, he's not a leader. He doesn't lead. He doesn't do anything. He drops balls. I mean, he was complaining on Monday saying that his wrist got hurt because of the stupid officers. Get the hell out of here. I remember in that video, he didn't complain saying, oh, I got surgery on my arm or I got something messed up on my wrist. He was complaining about his knee. So he's obviously full of shit. And then you got Jalen Waddle who drops passes left and right. Raheem Mostert be fumbling balls. I mean, the only guy that was probably maybe closer to Ron Armstead at the time was the fullback, but he has actually downgraded. He kind of like digressed since he's been with the Dolphins. So, in conclusion, we're fucked. This team is soft. It's just the reality of the truth. We're soft, and that's why we get beat. That's why when we play against good teams, they whoop our ass. We played against Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill. They whooped our ass when Brian Flores was around. They went ahead and they played the Buffalo Bills. How many times have we played them? And we've been getting our asses kicked by them. We go in the playoff against Kansas City. We got our asses kicked there. We went to who else? Any other team I could think of. I mean, I know when Aaron Rodgers came here for Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers a dog, and he beat us. So it's like, am I really gonna hit on Deshaun Elliott, man? Two different perspectives, sir. I say he's keeping it real. You say that he's a bitch for talking shit about the team. Myself, I don't call him a bitch. I pretty much call the whole rest of that team bitch besides Calais Campbell and Teron Armstead. I think those are not the only two bitches out on the team. I think everybody else on that team is a bitch because they've been losing and they've been not going ahead and stepping it up what they should be doing, to be honest with you.
I protect my brothers, man. I don't let people talk to my brothers like that. And I mean, that's just culture. And I guess maybe that's what Tua needs to improve on is set a culture out there. Um, Similar to like big football players I can't think of one right now, but just someone that's a leader and says, you know what? I mean, I don't accept that type of language. But anyways, I mean, we can say if the team is labeled soft, but I guess this soft ass team whooped a really hot Rams team that was coming in a 3 game winning streak at LA, and the defense came back and said, look, we can shut down big wide receiving cores like the ones that the Rams have. So I'm very proud of what that soft ass defense did on Monday.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, Nick. Monday, I looked at that game and you asked me for my opinion, what I thought about that game. I said I was upset. I wanted them to tank. I'm the one who says keep tanking. I don't want the Dolphins to win. We have guys two different perspectives here. You got Frankie Fresco who says tank. I want a good draft pick. We suck. We're not getting into the playoffs. It is what it is. And then you got my brother, Gitrapio, who's like the person who's like, yo, we're gonna make a run, we're gonna make the playoffs, and we're gonna be Gucci, bro. And there's no right or wrong answers. I'm being honest with you. And I told him this to my brother. I said, there's no right or wrong answer because at the end of the day, there's gonna be fans that agree with you that say, hey man, they're hopeful. And if the Dolphins are able to turn it around and make it to the playoffs, we're all gonna be happy, right? And if the Dolphins start sucking and they lose and they get a high draft pick, then we're gonna be happy as well. Here's what pisses me off by being a Dolphin fan. I'm pretty sure somewhere in the middle, we're gonna end up with like 9-8 or something like that, where we're gonna have a lousy draft pick. We're not gonna be in the playoffs, and then what's the next step? What are we gonna do? And they're not gonna fire Chris Greer. They're not gonna fire Mike McDaniel. They're giving those guys all at least another year. It just feels like the curse of the Dolphins keeps following us, and will never go ahead and just release us, man. Just give us that little bit of hope of us being able to achieve something. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When was it? I don't think it was this past weekend, but it was the weekend before. I kind of told my brother, I was like, yeah, it was the Arizona game. I told my brother, I was like, why are we still Dolphin season ticket holders? Why? Why should we still be Dolphin season ticket holders? What have they given us in the 10 years that we've been season ticket holders, and in all my life that I've been a Dolphin fan? Misery. That's all they've given me. They haven't given me excitement. They haven't given me anything to cheer about. The Heat have given me something exciting. The Panthers gave me something exciting. The freaking Marlins have given us something exciting. Even choke ass artist Inter Miami at least won a tournament and at least won the Shield before they choked their way their MLS Cup playoffs. But at least they did something. What have the Dolphins done for us, Nick, for all these years? Just brought us misery, bro.
I mean, like you said, you have it differently. I think failure is, at the end of the day, it can be draining, it can be exhausting, but it's a beautiful thing because once you overcome that failure, once you adjust from making those failures over and over and over again, eventually you'll go ahead and make that run. And right now it can happen. Hey man, Colin Cowherd said it. Right now Miami Dolphins are one of those teams that just beat a really good Rams team, and they're gonna get hot. They play against New England after this, or I'm sorry, the Raiders, then New England after, or I think it's either New England or the Jets. Then we go to the Packers. We stop that Packers team, and then we're 6-6. Next thing you know, we're
So hold on. We got the Raiders at home, the Patriots at home, Green Bay for Thanksgiving away, and then the Jets at home. And then we got Houston on the road. So those are our next one,
and
two, three,
Houston
four, five,
and
five.
Houston's in a dome, so we have a shot. The only cold game that we have literally is that Packers game. It's gonna be like 36-degree weather. But if you kind of think about it, hey, remember a couple episodes ago, I was like, what's the difference between the team getting hot early and then losing flame, and then a team that's kind of finding its ground and then it finally popped and now it's just gonna skyrocket to the rest of the season. They're both the same shit. You feel me? Like in the sense of like, hey, one just has a lot of dopamine in the beginning and then another swirl of enjoyment at the end. You get me? But I think I rather see the Dolphins kind of struggle now and then pick up steam than them being on fire at the beginning and then lose the steam and then go into the playoffs being like, we started strong, but we struggled at the end, and then I rather be like, yeah, we struggled at the beginning, but fuck, we finished strong. So hey,
I
you
mean,
never know, bro. You
I
never
mean,
know.
I'm not gonna lie. You do point out a very good argument here. I don't think we've ever seen the Dolphins do the opposite, which is start slow and end strong. They've always started strong and then end really bad at the end. So
Yeah, man.
maybe it's a good way to look at this team. Maybe looking at it as, hey, they'll turn it around. But for me, man, I don't get my expectations up because Nick, at the end of the day, man, it's the Dolphins, and just like No Doubt said it, the Dolphins love to hurt us. And that's how
Eh,
I feel about the Dolphins. They've always hurt us. They've always found ways to hurt us. They're going to win most likely against the Raiders. They'll probably win against the New England Patriots. And then we'll probably most likely lose against Green Bay. And yes, I know Houston has not been playing any that well either, but I wouldn't be surprised if Houston beats us as well. So think about it. I would have my hopes a little bit more exciting only if I would have seen a Dolphins team dominate an LA Rams team on Monday. They barely won, man. And they needed the defense to do most of the work. The offense was still struggling. Tua still went ahead and threw that interception. In that pass that he did, he had Tyreek Hill. Since he got greedy, he overthrew it, and then Tyreek Hill was underneath. If he would have thrown to Tyreek, Tyreek probably would have caught the ball. It would have not been a first down, but at least he would have caught the ball and it would not have been an interception. What I will say I did love about Tua, bro, is that he went head first, baby. Woo! Head first Tua, which you know why I want that head first. So obviously he got kicked in the head, and that's another thing about Tua, man. I predict, and you guys might go ahead and tell me, Frankie, you're just delusional. I'm sorry, guys. I feel that the Dolphins are not gonna make the playoffs, and I feel that if Tua keeps playing like this, he's gonna hurt himself. And I think at the end, it's gonna one of these guys. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I don't wish him this, but I think he's gonna get hurt, and I think he's gonna be out. And then what's gonna happen is, the season's over, and then we move on.
Kendall Lamb. Unfortunately, Austin Jackson went in a season-ending knee surgery, but we got Kendall Lamb. We got Armstead that's gonna finish strong. We got Aaron Brewer. We got Patrick Paul that might be put in there for that left guard spot, maybe because Robert Jones is not doing so well. Hey man, you got Odell getting more balls. You have Tua using Jono Smith a lot more now.
We
Uh,
got Austin
Tyreek,
Jackson getting a surgery, ending his season.
we got Tyreek Hill being the biggest decoy, and then we just gotta make sure that we gotta tighten up those gloves on Waddle, and this offense can flourish, bro. And then you get back Bradley Chubb. You get back you we pick up Xavier Howard. We're solid, bro. We're solid, bro. We make moves and watch out. Watch out. I'll give up on this season when we have
Pick up Xavier Howard.
8 losses. When we have 8 losses, then I'll be like, you know what? I get it. It's over.
See, that's the hopium that No Doubt was talking about. Is that hopium? Who thinks that now Xavier Howard is gonna sign with the Dolphins? Because obviously the Cincinnati Bengals tried him out and they wanted to sign him, but he didn't sign because he was like he wanted to get more than what they offered him. I think they offered him like $2 million, and he was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna take it." So now, because he's a Dolphin, or he used to be a Dolphin, he's gonna go ahead and give us that Dolphin discount. I don't think so, sir. I think at the end of the day, Xavier Howard is still going to be out there in the market. No Doubt has a good point. No X, just play Cam Smith and Storm Duck. I don't mind Storm Duck. I don't mind Cam Smith. I don't mind the Dolphins losing, guys. I don't mind. I will be at the Dolphins game with my brother, and my Nick is gonna be rooting for the Dolphins, and Frankie Fresco is gonna be rooting for the Raiders. I mean, I'm gonna be wearing my Dolphins gear and everything, but deep down inside, I'm gonna be like, I need them to lose. I want them to lose because
This is such a bad year for AFC that we have enough to probably even finish 9-8 and still make the playoffs.
that is true. That is true. It is competitive. There is a lot of hope out there, but it's that hopium that a lot of you naive Dolphin fans have that I don't have, and I've always gone ahead on record to say I'm not falling for it. Every single year, I go and I assume that they're gonna freaking turn it around. and they disappoint me. So, what's the best way to not get disappointed by the Dolphins? It's just admitting that we're gonna lose, and that's okay. I want, you know what would be great for me, Nick, that they lose to the Raiders, because that would just kill our hope that they're gonna be in the playoffs. By then, hopefully by then, Tyreek Hill probably says, "Yo, my wrist is hurting too much. I want to sit out the rest of the season,
But
and we're
Frank,
done."
when it's destiny, it's hard to lose, bro. It's hard to lose against a Raiders team that they're gonna win, bro. It's just tough. It's tough.
Uh, I don't know. Now, I want to turn it around and talk a little bit about something else that Deshaun Elliott mentioned out there. Now, Deshaun Elliott mentioned something that was very interesting. He went ahead and he said that if you're playing in Miami, there's too much stuff going in Miami for you to be able to be successful in Miami. Now, granted, the last time the Miami Dolphins were in the playoffs and actually did something in the playoffs was back in the 90s, also in the 80s. Things have changed. There's a lot of new stuff here. Now you got Wynwood. Now you got obviously South Beach. You got Coral Gables. You got Doral. You got everything. You got uh clubs that stay up until 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Even later than that. You have strip clubs that are fully naked. Women get fully naked in the strip clubs. They don't even get there's some clubs outside of some other states where they only go topless. Some of them don't even go topless. So, Nick, do you agree? Do you agree with Deshaun Elliott that no matter who comes here to the Miami Dolphins, that this Miami Dolphins team or any future Miami Dolphins team will not be successful and will never get anywhere because there's just too much distraction in this city for them?
Not really, bro. I mean, if other sports teams have been successful in the past 20 years, then that's a lame as excuse, bro. You
I
had the
agree.
you had the best in LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, and you're telling me because there was a lot of distraction, they didn't win championships? Bro, even when the Dolphins were really good in the 70s, wasn't the perfect season. Didn't they go to a bar every night to drink and then they would do like a weird ritual or whatever, some shit like that? They had like a background story on. So these guys drink. Let's be real, you know? Lame excuse, honestly, in my eyes. Deshaun Elliott just didn't, he just couldn't handle it because he's a baby. He's a little bitch.
I agree with you, man. And that one, I don't agree with you that he's a little bitch, but I do agree with you that obviously the whole argument and what No Doubt also said, the argument doesn't hold water. He are in Miami. The fact is that we've had teams be successful here in Miami. We've had the Miami Heat win championships. We've had the Marlins win championship. We even had the Panthers just win it last year, the championship. So it really doesn't matter what distraction is out there. It's just the type of character, type of player
Mm-hmm.
that you bring here
Yep.
that actually holds the responsibility and wants to win. I don't think the nightlife, the strip clubs, the music, the clubs, all that stuff is gonna really distract you from what your objective is, and your objective is to win. What better place to win than in South Florida? Again, look at the Panthers, man. You can have fun, but if you take your craft seriously, at the end of the day, you want to win. You don't want to get beat down out there. So, in my opinion, that argument that he brought was straight doo doo, bro. Don't believe on it. I think he was just looking for clout. I think he just taking a shot there with the Dolphins. I agree with the other statement, but not with that one. I thought that was fully lame. Sir, now let's talk about this weekend. We got the Raiders at home, sir. We don't got Christian Wilkins. He's out. He's out for the Raiders. It would have been nice to see him. Well, probably. I wonder if he's gonna travel. That'd be pretty cool if he travels. Hopefully, he
Probably.
travels, and he's with the team. That way, he could still say what's up to some of the old guys here in the Miami Dolphins organization and to the fans. Because I think if I see, I will say this, Nick. If I see Christian Wilkins on the field, I'm not on the field. I mean, like on the bench area. Um, I'm gonna clap for him, man. I even though it didn't work out for him here in Miami, I loved what he brought to the table and what he
Me
did
too.
for the team. So I hold no hostility with him. The guy had to get paid and he got paid. So props to him. But now let's talk about the game, sir. Uh what do you think? Three keys for victory for the Miami Dolphins. We'll start with the first key. We'll go back and forth. Your number one, your first key for the Miami Dolphins to win this Sunday against the Raiders.
For me, A number one key is making John Smith, giving him more targets. I think right now having him involved has helped the offense perform better, and it also allows Tua to relieve that stress that he needs to go deep all the time or he needs to hit the middle. Just give it to his tight end 5, 6, 8 yards out and let the rest do his thing. He's a big target. He's a tall guy, physical guy, and that's what I think Tua needs to focus on. Is that I think that's priority number one.
All right. My one of my keys to for the Dolphins victory is run the football. And the reason I put run the football is because Mike McDaniel did it on Monday when he went ahead and started getting happy and started giving Tua the ball to start throwing left and right. And then eventually he kind of calmed down and then they started running the football. And yes, they didn't have any success, but just the fact that they can throw in a run where they get 1 yard or they get -5 yards just to keep the defense guessing. You cannot just become a one-dimensional team, and I think that's what the Dolphins and Mike McDaniel likes to do. He just gets happy feet, and he's like, "Yo, I gotta throw a football all the time because it's running gun doesn't work for me, bro. We need to throw. We need to air it out." So if Mike McDaniel and the Miami offense can get their shit together and just be in par 50-50, don't throw too much, don't run too much, just be 50-50. I think the Dolphins have a really good chance at beating the Raiders. Your second key for victory for the Dolphins.
Apply a lot of pressure to the quarterback. These guys right now that the Raiders have are not really too. They don't really play well under pressure, and I think Anthony Weaver has helped this defense know when to blitz, how to blitz, and we've seen Chop Robinson now come alive in the middle of the season. So make him more involved. Make sure Calais is a little bit involved as well. We got Zach Sealer back, so apply all that pressure to that QB, and best believe nothing's ever gonna flourish for that offense.
Absolutely. I think a key for the Miami Dolphins, another key for the Dolphins to win is at the end of the day, Tua Tagovailoa. Tua, play smart, bro. Don't play stupid. I know I'm the one who says, "Yo, Tua, go ahead first." I understand. I am the first one to say that. But as a Dolphin fan, if I want the Dolphins to win, this is what I would tell them. Play smart, man. Don't make costly turnovers. Don't go out tackling people. Don't go head first. Don't do any of that stuff. You're a quarterback. Once the team loses you, it's over. So if you don't take care of yourself, nobody will. Obviously, this is probably going to go through 1 year and go out the other for Tua. But at the end of the day, we need him. He makes the team better. So Tua, take care of yourself, take care of the football, and hopefully we win this game. Your last key for the Dolphins to win.
We need the special teams to make plays. We need Malik Washington or anyone who's catching punt returns or kick returns to allow the Dolphins be in good field position. Allow the Dolphins to be in good field position using your special teams. I think that would definitely alleviate more work on the offense and help control this momentum. Malik Washington has been playing really well, so hopefully he can find a way to do some sort of special teams moment. But for the time being, I think special teams should be involved a little bit more, and they should make plays. If they make plays, we can control this game.
Sir, I'm right behind you, but on the opposite side, when it comes to the defense, create turnovers, man. The difference between the Rams being in that game and not being in that game was the fact that the Dolphins were able to create turnovers when they needed it the most. When Tua threw that pick, the next play that came out, they fumbled the ball, and the Dolphins defense was able to recover. If the Dolphins make mistakes, you need to make sure that you recover. The only way you're gonna be game changing, decisive plays for the Dolphins is gonna be by creating turnovers. I think the Dolphins are more difficult to defeat when you have a team that creates turnovers on the defensive side. And like you said, you got Zach Sealer back. You obviously Calais Campbell's been balling. Those sacks, I'm pretty sure there should be a person to fumble. And of course, sure, if you don't know, the Raiders, their starting quarterback for the Raiders is gonna be este tipo, the guy who used to play for the Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew is gonna be the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. I'm sorry, for the Raiders. So what do we know about Gardner Minshew? Gardner Minshew is a guy who likes to run. Gardner Minshew likes to throw the ball without. He reminds me a little bit of the guy Fitzmagic. When Fitzmagic, he's kind of like a slinger. You know, he doesn't care. So if he's gonna thread the needle, pick him off. Go after him. Make him make mistakes. It's the only way you are gonna be able to dominate this game and win. Sir, prediction time. What do you say? Dolphins win or lose? And of course, do you want to give a score or do you just want to go ahead and give your opinion as to what you think might happen, but don't want to give a final result?
When it comes to this game, forecast seems like it's gonna be a nice sunny day. I know there's some sort of temperature change, just a couple of degrees dropped, but overall, I think the Dolphins will take care of business. I think Tua will make sure that he will protect the football and, like you say, run the ball. I hope when he's in the red zone area, he uses his tight end to kind of catch those balls. And I think the Dolphins, with the defense making turnovers and the special teams making plays, I have the Dolphins winning 24 to 10.
24-10. All right. I like it. For me, man, I'm gonna be rooting for the Raiders. I want the Raiders to win because I want the Dolphins to keep tanking. Unfortunately, something tells me that they're gonna lose. That the Raiders are gonna lose in this one. I don't see the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are gonna be riding a little bit of a high because they beat the Rams. So I think they're gonna take that and run with it at least for the next two games. So I actually also have the Dolphins winning. I wouldn't be surprised or sad if the Dolphins lose. Just want to let you guys know because remember, Frankie is Frankie too. Tank, Frankie Tank, Frankie Tank. How do you call it? Frank the Tank. There you go. Tank for me, baby. Frank the Tank. That's what I like to hear. But I think the Dolphins are gonna win. I think the Dolphins squeeze it out. I think it'll be a low scoring game. I said Dolphins win. They'll win by a field goal, 17-14. Dolphins are not that great either, but I think they find a way to squeeze and win. So that is our Dolphins talk. Anything else you wanted to talk or bring about the Dolphins?
Um, Not really. I think right now the Dolphins, if they continue this streak going, the sky's the limit, bro. Honestly.
Sounds good. All right, let's move on to college football. And of course, when we talk about college football, we got to talk about every single team in the state of Florida. It's not just those pesky Canes. So let's talk about how in Florida did all these teams do. So first and foremost, we had Florida State, and Florida State got destroyed. And disregard the guy. Disregard it. What the hell is this? These commercials, bro. Get out of here. All right. Florida State got destroyed by Notre Dame, 52-3. Not a good day for Florida State. Hasn't been a good season for them at all either. So next we had UCF, and UCF unfortunately barely lost. They lost 31-35 against the Arizona State Sun Devils. Pretty disappointing showing by UCF. I believe this should have been a UCF win. I don't remember if they were the favorites. I think they might have been the favorites in this game. Next, we have Bethune Cookman. Bethune Cookman lost to the Southern Jags of Baton Rouge. Apparently, they went 5 overtimes. Jesus Christ. And they lost in overtime by a 2-point conversion. So they must have missed on that 2-pointer. Florida A&M got their asses beat by Prairie View A&M. The team in Texas, 31-12. West Florida went ahead. Oh, West Florida, Pensacola actually won. So
Let's go.
So let me. What were they talking about? I guess they were talking about Division 1 teams. They must have been talking about Division 1 because if you guys remember, there was a lot of people saying that the Dolphins were the only Florida team to actually win in in football if not every single team in the state of Florida would have lost. But that's not true because West Florida won. So I don't know why I said that. And here's another one. Maybe they weren't considering Division 2 teams. That's what it was. Because Edward Waters, the Tigers of Jacksonville, won 33-28 against Allen. Stetson lost to I don't know how to say this. Marist Red Foxes. Weird name there. Navy beat the crap out of South Florida. We will talk about this in a minute. Florida unfortunately got destroyed by Texas. East Carolina destroys Florida Atlantic. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The one that we wanted. Of course. Woo! Look at that. 23-28. Georgia Tech with the big dub. Sir, how excited were you to finally see the University of Miami fall after squeaking out so many victories? They had so many things going for them. How did you feel, sir?
I was in shocked, man. You know, the green, I mean the Yellow Jackets, they fooled me, man. I thought they were gonna get crushed by the Canes. I felt like the Canes, even though they've been in this weird streak defensively that they've allowed over 30 points in like 5 games in a row, so their defense ain't the best. But I just felt behind Cam Ward, I think for sure they can handle Georgia Tech. But I was wrong, and when I saw that, I thought of you. I thought you must have been jumping up and down and with ecstatic emotions, and it was crazy, bro. I was in shock. I'm not gonna lie to you. And the
Which
funniest part is that I don't know if you guys know, ladies and gents, but I like rave EDM music, so I went to a festival called EDC, and there was actual hurricane flags out there, like actual Cane fans flags over there. So when I saw that they lost, I was like, damn, that sucks.
whoa, sir. So first and foremost, I'm gonna criticize you right there. All right. I'm gonna criticize it just a moment. But before I criticize you, I do want to apologize to you, sir. And I want to apologize to all the fans that are not Canes fans. No doubt. And all you other guys as well out there. And gals. First, I want to apologize because I was always blaming everybody else for the demise of the opposite team that would face against the University of Miami. Number one, when they lost against Cal, I blame my brother. I said, Nick, you came on the stream, my live reaction stream. You were talking and you jinxed them. And I apologize, Nick. You did not jinx them. Kirk Herbstreit, I blamed him because against Louisville, every team, every panelist picked the University of Miami, and then Kirk Herbstreit purposely picked Louisville, and he screwed us over. So I blame Kirk Herbstreit on that one. And also keep in mind, I had a live reaction with the Louisville shirt. I did the Louisville hype video. I did a lot of things. When it comes to Duke, I during halftime did a short video saying, "Hey, we're watching the game. Look what's going on, et cetera, et cetera." And I went on social media and I put the halftime score where Duke was winning, and then I played that song. I know it feels like somebody's watching me, right? I was playing that because it was Halloween and stuff, so you get the reference. Yes, no doubt. Yes, sir. That is exactly where I'm going with that. It was me, sir. This whole time, Frankie Fresco was the jinx. And the reason I say that is because for the first time, Frankie Fresco did not say anything on Saturday. He stayed quiet. I did not go ahead and call anybody. I did not go ahead and text anybody. I did not post anything on social media. I did not stream. I did not do anything. I stayed quiet and just sat back and watched. And finally, Georgia Tech delivered, sir. So I want to apologize to everybody. I was the jinx. I was the one that created this scenario, this issue, and I apologize to all my non-Cane fans. I apologize that I gave the Canes so much power, but I'm happy that I've went ahead and I was able to stay quiet and get the Canes to lose. So shout out to Georgia Tech, very proud of that team. The alumni out there, I think they're amazing. You have won me over, Georgia Tech. I promise you, I will be now a Georgia Tech fan for life after what they did, what many other teams could not do. Now, I was gonna go ahead, Nick, and tell you one thing. I said I was gonna call you out because first and foremost, you know that if you're at a festival and you see the University of Miami flags, you just don't stay there and you just let them walk and just feel bad for them. What you should have done, if you should have gone ahead and approached them and said, "Hey, man, how was that game?" That's what you should have done. Or you could have taken a picture of them, reposted it on social media, and tagged me and be like, "Look, Frankie," or something. Done something to show the fans, the fan base that you suck. And you guys are not gonna make the playoffs, and you guys are gonna get eliminated, and it's gonna be a beautiful season, and you're gonna
Oh,
sit in the bench just like all the other Florida teams in college football. That's why, sir. Way to go, Frankie. You took one for the team. I did. I sure did, man. I sure did. Now, not everything went well for me, of course. Saturday was well, but then the BCS people always find ways to screw me over, man. It's just they find ways to piss me off. And this is why I'm upset, sir. Let's talk about it. All right. So here's the playoff rankings. You got Oregon out there, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana undefeated, BYU, Tennessee, Notre Dame. And they got the University of Miami number 9. You got Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Boise State. And then you got SMU, baby. Those Mustangs. Texas A&M. I forgot that team.
Kansas State.
Kansas State, correct. Colorado. I forgot that team. I forgot who that team was. The one with the little cat in the red. Number 18 in the world. I forgot who that was. Then you got Louisville Cardinals. How the hell is the Louisville Cardinals in this stupid ass rankings? Man, they suck. Clemson, yes, sir. Clemson, South Carolina, LSU. That's Missouri. I don't know who those last 2 teams are. Anyways, long story short. Look at the bottom, sir. And yes, SMU is legit, no doubt. Definitely. So if you look at the bottom, the teams that are number 1, 2, 3, and 4 is number 1, Oregon, number 2, Texas, number 3, BYU, and number 4, Miami. Miami gets a first round bye because Miami, the top 5 teams to win the conference or conference leaders automatically get in. So let's say if Miami continues this role and they make it to the ACC championship and they win, they will automatically have a spot in the quarterfinals. They will not have to go through the first round. Now, here's the tricky part, Nick. Here's the tricky part.
What's the tricky part?
If Miami loses any of the games moving forward, that would mean they lose against Syracuse at Syracuse in 2 weeks, or they lose against Wake Forest. I think they're playing Wake Forest in Miami. They drop out of the playoffs, and SMU replaces them. The Mustangs, baby. The Mustangs come in.
What a slap in the face.
The Mustangs come in, and all of a sudden, the Mustangs, out of the blue, would be number 4 right now. Now, keep in mind, what is our prediction? I think at the end of the day, it's all going to be on that ACC championship. I think the Canes are able to beat Wake Forest because Wake Forest sucks. And then I think Syracuse might give them a run for the money. My only hope is that Wake Forest and Syracuse have studied the video of Georgia Tech to the point where they've done so much studying that they went ahead and they say, hey, look, this is how you beat this team. And then they're able to beat them. And they pretty much written the script on how to beat the University of Miami. I hope that's what happens. But again, we're not going to find out until the next 2 weeks, literally. And if they're able to pull it out. Now, I'm going to be rooting for Wake Forest. I'm going to be rooting for Syracuse. And if they somehow, some way make it to the ACC championship, I will be rooting for whoever faces them, which most likely will either be Clemson or SMU. So talk to me, man. Your probability of the University of Miami making the college football playoffs this year.
Now that they kind of choked, I mean they do have some time to really digest what just happened. I think Mario Cristobal is gonna find a way to turn things around. But I'm not gonna lie to you, that ACC championship game is gonna be interesting
It sure is, man.
because
SMU is no
you
joke.
just don't know if the Mustangs are gonna come through.
Mustangs are pretty legit. Now, keep in mind, Miami does not play this weekend. They play November the 23rd against Wake Forest, so they will not be playing this weekend. It'll be in 2 weeks. So Miami's gonna be resting. Hopefully, they're the cool thing about Georgia Tech beating Miami is that since they beat their ass, they have to sit for 2 weeks with that L on them. That's the most beautiful thing. That's what I loved about Georgia Tech. That's why I'm a huge Georgia Tech fan. I've already gone on paper, Nick, to say that that I have always been a Florida Gator fan, and then after that, I've been a long time Georgia Tech fan. I've always been a Georgia Tech fan. Sir, I honestly feel that Miami's going to find a way to choke their asses out of there, sir. So I am excited. I hope the Miami Hurricanes find a way to keep losing, keep making sure that you fall back. And there's nothing that Mario Cristobal did in that game against Georgia Tech that could actually sell me that he's gonna be able to turn it around. I honestly feel at the end of the day, it's just gonna be fun to see, you know.
A lot of people are in shock, man. You don't see that many fans right now talking.
No, sir. And it's good. It's good that they're not talking. They shouldn't talk because they're finally coming to a realization that Cam Ward is not the player that everybody thinks he is. He's a good player, but he's not going to lead this team to a national championship. This team has a lot of flaws in it. And finally, a team finally stepped it up and proved it to us that Miami is not unstoppable. Now, sir, this weekend, we got some really important games. Saturday, the University of Florida plays LSU. What do you think, sir? LSU, number 21 ranked. They're pretty much out of it since they lost. And now they have 3 losses in their record. So they're probably out. Florida's trying to fight, trying to get into 6 wins to make it to a bowl game. They still have to play, obviously, LSU this weekend. Then they play Ole Miss the following weekend, which is the number 10th team in the world. And then they end the season with Florida State. So they have to find a way to win 2 more games. Do you see the Gators making an upset against number 21 LSU or number 10 Ole Miss?
Oh yeah, Florida has been a very competitive team against these top 25 SEC teams. So definitely, I do see the Florida Gators giving a run for their money for sure, and I definitely see the Gators handling business against Florida State. So yeah, them having at least 6 wins this season for sure.
Now, No Doubt mentions something here. No Doubt says this graph misses one key component. is third in the ACC right now. SMU and Clemson are higher in the ACC standings. I don't think that's right, No Doubt, because if SMU or Clemson would have been higher, they would have replaced in the actual spot because they're supposed to honor the top 5 teams that are supposedly the conference winners. So I'm looking right now at the ACC, and it does have SMU as number 1, and it has Miami and Clemson as number 2. But I think the only reason Miami still supersedes Clemson and supersedes SMU is because Miami has played more games on the SEC conference. They're 5-0. That's they're wait, hold on a second. I'll tell you right now. Yeah, that I think so. Miami's 5-1. I wonder why SMU is not over them. That is so weird. SMU should. Why is SMU not in Miami's spot? That doesn't make any sense. Nick. So let me show you guys. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about, or what No Doubt was talking about, because
Maybe
that's
because
interesting.
UM has been in the SEC, the ACC longer, so they kind of value more weight on UM than SMU that has just got in there their first year to the ACC.
I don't think that's the case, but I think at the end of the day, it's more shittery that they do out there for the University of Miami to try to help them again when they have no business again having to, like, there's no business with them having to be in the playoff. They're not even number one. So check it out. I could understand them why they supersede Clemson. So let me zoom in a little bit here, that way you could see it. All right, so obviously Clemson has 6-1 in the conference and Miami's 5-1, but their overall record is 7-2 and Miami's 9-1. So I could understand why Miami is above Clemson. That makes perfect sense. My question is, look at this, Nick, and I'm trying to zoom in a little bit more. SMU is 5-0 in the conference and they're 8-1 overall. Why the hell is UM above SMU? SMU should be the team in that playoff spot. What kind of alumni bullshit are they doing out there in the college playoff? Are they paying people, bro? Is that what they're doing? No doubt. Is that what they're doing? Are they paying the college committee to go ahead and put them in the playoff bracket? Is that what they're doing, Nick? Is that what they're doing? No doubt. Because that doesn't make any sense. Why the hell would Miami be number 4? It should be SMU because they have a better record and they're 8-1. The only thing I could think of, Nick, the only thing I could think of is that Miami's 9-1. So they've played one more extra game overall than SMU, and that's why they have Miami above SMU. That's the only thing I could think of, Nick. But it just doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. I don't get it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you guys think SMU should be above them? Nick, do you think SMU should be above Miami in the playoff?
I just got to look at strength of schedule, and I also got to look at
What the
who
hell does
lost,
that have to do with that doesn't have to do with
who
anything?
who lost first. Because it seems like SMU lost first, and then they've won 6 in a row, while Miami has won 9 in a row, and then they just lost. So maybe that could be the case.
I mean, if that's the case, I don't know, bro. That has me dumbfounded. I'm just being honest with you. That would shock me. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was our college talk, and now we're gonna go ahead and jump a little bit to some NBA action here. And of course, unfortunately, we had a very very tough game last night. If you ask me why, it's because the Miami Heat typically like to choke away wins left and right, but the Miami Heat went ahead and lost yesterday in overtime against none other than the Pistons. The Pistons, who are now have a better record than the Miami Heat. They're 5-7, and the Miami Heat are 4-6. Sir, talk to me, man. What you think about the game? What did you think about our coach making a Mike McDaniel type of move?
I think right now Eric Spoelstra is just trying to figure out what group of men is gonna click for the beginning of the season. I just hope he realizes he needs to start putting Ware. I think his name was, what's his name, Kevin, Del Ware, Kevin Ware, whatever his name is. But they should put him and allow him to play in, because he's a guy who can stretch the floor. But it's still early in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean the Heat. It's really they had a strong game by Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero had 40 points, and Bam Adebayo, of course, that super role player, had 20 points with 12 rebounds. So he has a double double there. And then like Jaime Jaquez had 14. Duncan Robinson had 14. You know, I mean the regular guys always going. And then like you said, Kalel Ware, he had 5 points. He played 9 minutes. Pell Larson played 13 minutes, scored 2 points. So some contribution from everybody. Even Nikolai Jovic played 2 minutes and he had 2 points. So just I think it was just a bad mistake by Eric Spoelstra. He just went ahead and called the timeout when he didn't need to have called the timeout, and that cost the Miami Heat a win. But like you said, it's still early. There's still a lot of basketball in the season. So I think once the Miami Heat get their stuff together, they should be fine. Of course, keep in mind Jimmy Butler did not play this game. Probably with Jimmy out there, maybe they would have done a lot better. But it just sucks that the Detroit Pistons pulled out this victory, a game that should have gone Miami's way. Anything else you wanted to talk about when it comes to the Miami Heat?
Um, I'm liking I'm liking how Tyler Hero's playing. I'm just not really too fond of right now how bad Terry Rozier's playing. The past like 6 games, he's been struggling a lot. I hope this isn't a consistent pattern throughout the whole season. That he gets hot for 6 games, then he's out, and then he's slow for six, like that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we could go ahead and we could talk about when it comes to the Miami Heat. I mean, like you said, man, it's still early in the season. They got a lot. They got a lot to worry. They got a lot of things going on for them. So I think once we figure things out, I don't see why Miami is not able to go ahead and maybe turn it around. It's just really gonna depend on Jimmy Butler if he's actually um gonna make it and survive the whole season and be able to contribute to his team. So that's
And
really
if
what
and
was
if
that.
and if and if we gotta trade Bam for Giannis, so be it.
There is those rumors about Giannis, but again, I think that you're smoking that hopium, where it's like you're hoping for things that I highly that will happen. So we will see. All right, sir. Last but not least, of course, it's just us, you and me, sir. Any other topic you wanted to talk about before we end the show?
Um, um, nah, man, nothing in mind, honestly. Just just I guess we'll see what happens in the international break of soccer with Colombia playing against Uruguay on Friday. Um, there's David Cabal from Juventus. He tore his ligament, so he's out for the season. So that's another third defender for Colombia goes down with a crucial ligament. But aside from that, everything else looks pretty solid.
Nice. The other thing I wanted to go ahead and whoa, this is not what I want. There you go. We could do it like that. The other thing I wanted to ask you, Nick, and that was just a picture of me and my brother when we went to um, the Kansas City playoff game over there in Kansas City. And we were freezing off. That was me with Miami Dolphins mask, and my brother, of course, also out there as well. Um, Two things, sir. We got a fight on Friday. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. Who do you got, sir?
Mike Tyson.
All right, Mike Tyson it is. I am gonna say that there is enough of money in the building for Jake Paul to squeeze out the win. So I say Jake Paul beats him. He probably Mike Tyson is making 20 million. Um Jake Paul is making 40 million. Plus Jake Paul is the one promoting the whole thing. So I would be surprised if he loses. And then Saturday night, sir. Saturday night, we have a big fight. John Jones Jr. versus Stipe Miocic. Big UFC fight for all you UFC fans. Talk to me, sir. Who do you got? John Jones or Stipe?
John Jones.
John Jones. I'm gonna go out on a limb, man. I think Stipe Miocic has an opportunity to win. I think Stipe pulls it out, man. I think Stipe is the more movable guy, and he'll be able to pull this out. So it should be good for all you guys who are gonna be tuning in. The boxing fight is on Friday. The UFC fights are on Saturday, so it should be good. Last but not least, at the beginning of the show, I wanted to tell you guys that we had an announcement that we were gonna do. So basically, what I wanted to tell you guys, me and my brother, it's mostly me. I'm not gonna go out and throw my and say my brother was too involved in this decision, but we're gonna take, or at least we're taking a break from Let Me Talk to You. I don't know when we'll bring back the show. Um, right now, it's kind of like 50-50 with me. I got a lot of, I know my brother has a lot of stuff going on in his work, and I know that he has his life out there, and I have a lot of stuff at work, and with the DJ world that I have right now, this is one of our more hectic seasons right now. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to take the time necessary to do the show and be able to give you guys the content that me and my brother like to go ahead and give you guys. So I had mentioned to my brother that we were going to take a break. And I think my brother, he sent me a message saying that he respects my decision. Like I said, I can't give you any word as to when we're gonna bring it back. Um, but just I think it's good for the both of us. I think it's good for me and my brother. To just sit back a little bit and just reflect and see if at the end of the day, I don't know. For me, if I miss this, I will still be doing the show with Sean. I will be still doing the Squared Circle Digest with Sean. Um, but I kind of wanted to lay back on the Let Me Talk to You podcast, and we'll see what the future holds. I don't know. Um, I don't know. We'll see. Nick, any last parting words before we head on out?
No, sir. Just a pleasure uh, with this journey with you, and we'll be back soon.
Yeah, same guys. I want to thank everybody on the chat board, No Doubt, and Stephen A, and everybody who tuned in on X, and anybody who also tuned in on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. We always are grateful for you guys tuning in every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And till the next time, we'll see how we'll see when that comes. Take care, guys.
Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.